You are listening to the ReRACEables podcast.
So you get to the fish out of water challenge. Obviously, we're seeing one perspective again. You get there, you open the clue, you see you're a bit behind, and what happens? Like, what are you thinking, and what are you and Nathan talking about? You know, Cody, what are you guys talking about in that moment? You get there, you rip it open. What happens?
And realistically, we were one of the first teams to get. We were in the first third, I'd say, that got to that challenge. So we were, okay, how do we get in? We're pretty excited about this being a water challenge because that's what we do. Water and fish, that's literally what we do. If it was a live fish, we'd have done even better. But so we got out of the boat, just kind of trying to memorize the colors and the combination and stuff, and then go through. And you get that tunnel vision to focus on what you're doing. And to me, the other teams just dropped off. I see back pictures of me next to Kelly and LaVon or something like that, and I don't even remember seeing them really. I'm focused on that fish.
Yeah,
on
cast
driven.
So is there ever a point? So is there not a point where you're even thinking, okay, like we're in this position, or okay, we know we're in good shape here. Let's just get this done and keep going, or is it just a total blur and you're just so tunneled?
Yeah, for me, I think it's just pretty well your tunnel vision. You kind of look like, all right, we're not last. We're in the middle somewhere, so we're okay, you know. And it was just after we got to the water, I was like, oh, we should do good here. So, I mean, we live in the water, so the water was no aspect, you know. So basically, you know, just don't finish last was our objective.
Yeah.
So is the hardest part then not the water, not the lock, not the remember? Is it just the adrenaline?
Yeah, I think it was more mental game than I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot more physically, but yeah, I think it was more mental. You're constantly, even when you're not filming, you're constantly thinking about, okay, what could possibly become? What did we do wrong? What can we do better? But you really have no idea. You have no control of what's going to happen, and they don't give you any clues of, you know, before the show starts about what is going to take place or where you're going or anything.
Yeah, and I think it comes across too as like the viewer that there is genuine like uncertainty, like as you guys are ripping that envelope open, as you're taking it out, as you're reading it, it's like there's no way to prepare for that. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, we've got people on. We've had people comment and stuff on Facebook. We've had really positive comments, at least from everything that I've seen. But I did get one person that commented they should have known. I was like, even if I knew that we had a steel drum, I don't know that I would be able to practice it. Like, I don't know that in Dayton, Tennessee, I can go down to Walmart and be like, hey, can I get the steel drum?
Where's your steel drum?
Yeah. Right. And if you were, you know, even like, you know, Ishwar was all about like his preparation, how he was reading and doing all, you know, other teams were studying languages and like, okay, but how many of you were playing musical instruments and got to what? Number 1 million on the list? That was the steel pan. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, so you get to the roadblock, you tear it open. Do you have a sense of what it's going to be, even though you're opening up and you don't know, obviously, but when you're kind of in the surroundings, you can see maybe the people there a little bit, or no, like you still have no idea until you're tearing it open.
When we got there, it was instant dread. Nathan read the clue, he opened it, and I was the whole time going, oh crap, this is it. Because it was music and you're going to be the center of attention. I don't mind looking like an idiot. Anytime you can do whatever, like embarrassment doesn't happen for either of us, I don't think. So like whatever, we could split our pants and still laugh about it on national TV. But when I hear steel drums and you're gonna be in the center of attention, we think music or dance, and we think we're screwed. Because that's the one thing that was gonna get us. Everything else, we know each other like the back of our hand. And like I've told other people, when I have fights with my girlfriend, sometimes I have Nathan explain to her what I'm thinking because he's better at that. So like
Right.
he is better. He knows me like the back of his hand. So we knew that once we got to steel drums, we're like, okay, we're gonna struggle with this.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be music or dancing. That was going to be our downfall, and it just happens to be the first Roadblock. So.
So how do you make the decision then? I mean, it sounds like both of you guys were not excited, obviously.
Well,
but how do you make the choice?
I remember reading it said who could steal the show, and I was like, oh, that Cody's personality is more of outgoing, but turns out it was steel drum. So as soon as I say it, we're in trouble.
Yeah, and I don't know. You can't, again, when you watch the show, as a viewer, you're like, oh my goodness, like you put yourself in the position that you guys are in. You look at, I look at my wife or I look at my friend that I'm watching with, and I'm like, oh gosh, who would do this one? And the whole music thing. And then I don't know if the music was the hardest part or the fact that everybody had to get up from the line, walk in front with this whole group of people who are experts at it, and then play kind of, everybody stops and then it's just you, like with the things in your hands. Like that seems so intimidating.
Yeah, after a while we started feeling sorry for the professionals that were there that had to keep playing.
Right, like, oh, daylight come and can we please go home? Like I just can't. I mean, you figure they probably play that song all the time anyway, let alone 100 times in that,
easily
in that hour or so. So I don't know if you can talk about this though, but I would like to. I'm curious about like the edit, right? When you watch reality TV and you hear different people comment or talk about it on different shows or pods or whatever. They talk about the edit, and how do you guys feel about like how the show portrayed you and your relationship and your leg of the race and how it was run?
As far as the way they portrayed us, I mean, I think it's pretty, it's what you see is what you get with us, me and Cody. We didn't play anything up for the cameras. So, I mean, there's no editing gimmicks as far as that aspect. There's still a lot of stuff that got cut out that y'all didn't see, but, they've got to cut it down to a certain time for the hour-long TV show. So,
I mean, Tim, behind the cast too, is a lot of people have commented on the various forums and stuff, is that it was edited to be fast, and I think they did try and cram a lot into a little bit of time, which there's so much happened, and there's so many things that we know that were cut out that were like, we thought that would make good TV or whatever.
Yeah, it should have been a 2-hour episode. I think so.
But
yeah, I mean, I was with some friends, as I said, and like we kind of were like, oh my gosh, we're in Trinidad already, and oh my gosh, like this is happening, and it seemed like it was, on 1.5 speed or, the whole thing. I do want to talk about one other piece that I did see that wasn't on the show, and it was a video I think was on Facebook, and it was an interaction between you guys and Gary and Deangelo, and you were asking, I think it was you, Nathan, you were asking Deangelo about his hair, and and he was talking to you about breast cancer and his family and his background with it and how he had his influence. And then you mentioned, something about your family being directly affected by it as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
At the time, that was the first interaction me and Deangelo had and Gary had together. That's the first time we talked to him. I noticed, him having the socks on in his hair, and I was like, I just got to ask him, because at the time my mom was going through breast cancer at the time. So it was a really tough decision, not only leaving my wife and 2 kids, but my mom is currently going through breast cancer. And I was, between me and my brother, we were the ones taking her to chemotherapy. So it was a huge deal for me to walk away. And so I seen that, and I was like, I've got to talk to him. And I really wish it would have made it to the show. I think it was a great aspect and a great conversation, and it probably would have helped Gary's or Deangelo's, not conservation, what am I trying to say? His organization he has for cancer awareness. With everything he's gone through, I was lucky enough I've got to keep my mom, and she's fully recovered and all healthy. And, he's lost so many women in his life, and he's doing great things. And, please go support him.
Thank you for sharing your story. I'm so glad that your mom is doing okay.
Thank you.
I brought it up just because I felt like that was the most obviously the show is a story and we're following 11 storylines all merging into one. And I felt like I was just so glad, scrolling, and I stopped on that clip and I watched it. It was so powerful. And I was so like, I feel like that would have been a great thing to have in the episode, But I want to just end here and I'll let you guys go. How much interaction do you have with the teams, prior to the race? Do you get to know them at all? Do you get to size them up? Or is it just you show up in Hollywood and boom, you meet them for the first time?
You're in prison, so you're not allowed to talk to anybody like at all. You're not like, hey, fly to LA, let's go shopping down the boulevard. Not that Nathan and I would have done that anyway, but like you were like isolated. They want that interaction where it's fresh, it's new. So we don't know anybody, and so that interaction with Nathan and Deangelo at the airport that's it. It wasn't scripted for camera. That's our first time talking to these people. We've seen these people, we don't know them.
Yeah, you have no interaction. I mean, you actually will be during casting and stuff. We've seen some of the teams, and you would be in a restaurant at the hotel eating, and there will be tables separating you. You can't talk to anybody. If you're in an elevator with another team, you can't talk to them. If you're in a van going shooting some stuff off scenes that you've seen or promo stuffs, you're in a van with, 6 other teams and you can't talk with them. So, I mean, you can't talk at all.
Oh,
and over dramatic, not saying it's like prison, but it's
No,
like very isolated. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, it's prison. It was just, hey, we're not allowed. We're isolated from these other people.
Man, it makes sense. It is a big deal. There's a lot of people watching. There's a lot at stake, and it totally makes sense. But do you see yourselves like working with these people, or keeping, what's next for you and any connection with these people, like Nathan? Anything that you think will go forward with Deangelo and his organization?
Sure, I would love to, but we have a text chain with the whole cast, and I say we don't go at least 2 or 3 days without talking to everybody. Everybody's on there all the time. We've even had some of the producers tell us like, this is the closest cast we've ever put together. Everybody is super nice. I don't think there's any villain teams. Nobody's a bunch of drama. I mean, it's just all hugs and kisses. It's great. It is absolutely great. Everybody's supportive.
And high five. Everybody wants to see each other succeed.
Yeah.
So that was the good thing, is we weren't actively trying to sabotage other people. It was literally lifting each other up. It's what America should be, is that people are lifting each other up. Even though there's such a prize at the end of the line, everybody was happy to see other people advance in levels. So we're blessed, that's for sure.
No, that's amazing. And in these times, I hope that connection that you all feel, I'm sure it'll be shown through on the screen, so that everybody watching can really get a sense of that connection. And despite how different everybody is, and though you're competing, you're able to come together and be this, unique season 32 family. So that's awesome.
Yep.
But all right, well, gentlemen, I can't tell you thank you enough. I appreciate this so much. I appreciate your time, you sharing everything that you could here, being on the podcast. I really do appreciate it, and God bless you guys.
We appreciate you too, and we do want to leave with a message before anything, because I believe
absolutely
that everything has a place, is that you don't have to do really great things to be a great person. Even little things that you do every day can have a huge impact on the world around you. And we do want to share that message of lift each other up, that you're loved. And even if you're going through hard times, that we're rooting for you. So
that's awesome. Thanks so much, guys. All the best to you. And hopefully we'll talk soon. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
All right.